Hey, Pens fans, welcome to Pens Den, home of your five-time Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins. This afternoon, we're going to do something a little different here. I have a commentary, and let me start this off by stating that this commentary is solely from myself, Bill from Pens Den. This does not represent the Penguins organization, players, coaches, anything affiliated to do with the Pittsburgh Penguins. This is solely my commentary. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into this here. Last year, the Penguins won the Stanley. After the Penguins won the Stanley Cup, the talk was the expansion draft and which goalie the Penguins would protect. I was very much in favor of them keeping Marc-Andre Fleury and exposing Murray to the draft. You can see that I have a lot of followers on my Twitter account and, of course, on my Facebook groups as well, Pens Den and Pittsburgh Penguins Safe Place. I lost a lot of followers, especially on Twitter after that. All people saw was that I wanted to expose Murray to the draft and not my reason why. My reason was, as I stated back at the time, was that even then, even last year, Murray was injury prone. And, we saw that in the beginning of the playoffs in 2016 and last year in 2017 as Marc-Andre Fleury played a majority of the playoffs last year. And this season ended up proving me right as far as that was concerned. Even to the point of I've heard some people referring to him as Bo Bennett too. Murray was solid in the playoffs in 2016 and 2017. And the reason he was solid those years was because of Marc-Andre Fleury. He pushed Murray to be better, and Murray responded. Murray also knew he could be replaced if he faltered. This year, he has Casey DeSmith waiting in the wings. No disrespect to Casey DeSmith, but he's not going to push Murray to be his best. Chris Letang has had what I'll just come out and say it, an awful year. Goal production is down, and it seems more often than not that he makes a gaffe or an error during a game that leads to an opponent's scoring chance. I don't believe for a minute this is physical. If you've ever watched any of the videos that he's ever done or they've ever done of him and his training and conditioning, he's probably one of the best conditioned players in the NHL, probably maybe even a little better than Sid. And I know Sid's very fastidious about his training regimen and almost maybe even superstitious about it. I do believe that this is something mental. He did have a lot going on personally. He obviously had the stroke, the concussions. He's had quite a number of injuries. And on the personal front, his wife lost a baby this year due to miscarriage. So it's been a difficult year for him. There's absolutely no question about that. I believe, as the coaching staff has often said, that he overthinks plays. And when he overthinks plays, bad things happen to the Penguins and good things happen for other teams. Sometimes, he has showed up and played well this year. But I think, it would really benefit him if the team would strongly suggest that he sees a sports psychologist because, again, this was just not a year where, we missed him last year in the playoffs, but the Chris Letang that we have this year might as well not even had him. I hate to say it like that. Everybody talked about the game that Holtby played last night. Holtby played a great game. There's just absolutely no question about that. But I didn't see a lot of it, but the Pens did make it easy for him. I noticed on a lot of his saves, he saw those shots all the way in and he wasn't screened. On some of the shots, if the Pens got any elevation on them, they win the game easily last night. They score several goals. Mana missed a wide open net. It was just and if you look at the saves and the save percentage for the series, it's Murray and he are very close. So while, he did play a great game last night, the Pens did make it easy for him. Some of my favorite people in life are the ones that end up admitting their mistakes in front of others and then take action to correct them. If you watch any of the post-game interviews or read any of Penn's inside scoop on Twitter last night, that multiple players had reactions to the game. In particular, Chris Letang's reaction of the play that led to the backbreaking goal by the Caps last night. He threw Brian Dumoulin under the bus, pure and simple. Matt Murray, not one iota of him saying anything about his less than average performance. I don't know about you, but that bothers me. Mike Sullivan was right in the fact that that was one of the better played games, not only in the playoffs, but all season for the Penguins. With the exception of the first few minutes of the first period and all of the second, it was a great game. Unfortunately, they came out flat in the third, and they ended up paying the price for that with a loss. Dominic Simone had an impact on the game last night, and, well, it wasn't a positive one. He took a late first period penalty, a very untimely one, which led to a Caps power play goal. And unfortunately, after that, it led to a bad goal let in by Murray. So instead of being up 1-0 at the end of the first, the Penguins are down 2-1, headed to the locker room for the second period. Everyone in the NHL, including the Caps, know that Murray has problems with his glove side. That's one thing that he needs to work on during the offseason. I know he spent a lot of time conditioning last year, the past couple of seasons, to try to improve his ability not to get injured as much. Well, he also needs to work on that glove side because people know that it's weak. Sidney Crosby is one who he admitted he was weak on faceoffs, and he worked to improve that. And I think that's the same thing here. Matt Murray needs to work to improve that glove side, or that's going to continue to be exploited throughout his career. During playoffs, you need goalies to be able to steal a game or two during a series, just absolutely shut another team down. Murray's not done that, especially against the Capitals. He's let in several backbreaking goals. The Pens are to force a game 7. He needs to steal a game 6, pure and simple, no questions asked. And if they're to advance further in the playoffs, he needs to continue that, to steal a game or two in a series. One thing I'm very tired of seeing is the division amongst Penguins fans. You have Murray lovers, you have Fleury lovers, you have Letang lovers, etc. You have your positive Pens fans where you can't say anything bad about the Penguins, and you have your negative Pens fans who want to trade everybody and fire everybody. I took myself out of several Facebook groups as I was not allowed to express my opinion. I couldn't say anything bad. That's when I started my groups on Facebook. Pittsburgh Penguins Safe Place and Pensden, and I'll provide links in the description to both of those groups. I allow both the positive and not positive comments as long as you follow the guidelines I've set up. There's good discussion that goes on. I definitely invite you to check those groups out, and I will not hesitate to get rid of trolls or people who do not follow the very simple guidelines that I set up when I set up those groups. My final thought. I believe the Penguins will win Game 6 to force a Game 7 in Washington on Wednesday. Everyone needs to be on their A+ game. Not overthink, but simplify. Get pucks to the net. Elevate shots. Aggressive on the forecheck. Block shots. Tight defense. Timely saves. And for Game 7, they'll need to repeat the same thing. And they'll need to even amp it up a notch because, in hostile territory, it's going to be rough. Will they advance to the next round? We'll find out more on Monday night. But I hope you take this commentary to heart. I've been a diehard Penguins fan since 1972 when I went to my first game. I've probably been close to 1,000 NHL games in person. I probably watched approximately, I'm going to guess, 1,500 to maybe 2,000 games on television. I know hockey. When I was young, one of the gifts I would ask for my birthday was the NHL rule book, and even at that time, I knew the rules, and I know the rules today. I know them backwards and forwards, and I have a passion for this. This is my favorite sport. It's part of my DNA. It's part of who I am, and that's why I created the groups. That's why I created the YouTube channel. to show everybody and to let everybody know. And I'd like to see Pens fans get together here. You know, we have one goal. We want to win the Stanley Cup again. You know what? Let's put, you know, Murray lovers and Fleury lovers and Letang lovers and the positive and the negative. Put all that aside. Let's just say, let's go Pens. Let's root for our Pens. If somebody makes a bad play, you can say it. But you know what? Don't dwell on it. Let's move on from it. I'm moving on from last night's game, and I think everybody else should too. And just, you know, focus on them having, you know, an aggressive forecheck, getting to loose pucks quickly, getting, you know, had quick transition game, shooting the puck on the power play, screening the goaltender, blocking shots, and just in doing the things that will produce a win. You know, let's root for them instead of rooting against them. Thanks so much, and let's go Pens.